Nick Frost, thanks a million for joining us on RTÉ.ie.
Hello.
I love the hair.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, is this for a role?
No, it just I haven't cut my hair since the film, so I'm just enjoying it. I've kind of got that weird Shaun Ryder step-on video from 1992 look going on.
It might be all back.
A lot of GHD action.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Do you find that a bit
Well,
dries out the hair?
wait for my wife to go to work, and then I kind of phone her to see if she's on the train or not, and then when I know she's not coming back to the house, out come the GHDs, and I just straighten away.
So straight and then a little flick of the curls at the end.
Straighten and a little flick.
Lovely. I'm going to put that on the fashion site. They're going to love
Okay,
it.
good.
I read somewhere that when you were doing stand-up, that there were, out of maybe 10 gigs, half of them amazing, lovely experiences, and half horrendous, you hated it.
Yeah, this is true.
Can you tell me a little bit more?
Well, I met Simon Pegg. I was a waiter. I'd been a waiter for about 5 or 6 years. I was 28 or 29.
In a Mexican restaurant?
In a Mexican restaurant, Chiquitos.
Give them a plug.
Oh,
Come on.
Yeah, I'm not going to plug them because
Okay.
their chimichangas are rubbish right about now. So I was a waiter, and I met him through a friend of his at the time, and we suddenly became very close very quickly. And he said, why don't you try and do some stand-up? So he wrote me a kind of list of clubs that would do, open spots for me. And I never, I'd always kind of been a slightly funny fella. I used it to make money, to make tips. But I never realised that you could actually make a living from comedy. So I did, I think, 10 or 12 gigs. As you said, half were great, half were at that point the lowest times of my life.
I don't mean to laugh. It must be
can
terrifying.
Laugh. Well, you know what? Yeah. I think the problem was I just wasn't very good at it. I think I kind of liken it to golf. If I'm not going to be great at it immediately, then I can't be bothered doing it. And I kind of had it almost scripted out quite rigidly. So when people started heckling me, it made me forget where I was. And, a good stand-up would have attacked that heckle and, put it back into the audience. But I didn't know how to do it. I think the worst gig I ever had, I had 2 really bad ones. One, I was being heckled so badly by 2 businessmen that I threw the mic down and jumped into the crowd to physically attack them. That saw me being ejected from the club and told to never come back. And then the worst one was I did like a really long day shift at the restaurant, and then I had to take a bus for like 2 hours to this gig, and it was raining and I was really a bit down. And I got there and there was 11 men in the audience, and that's all there was. And they were a local football team, and the compere, just before I got on stage, had started some really vicious heckling war with them. God. And then during the screams, he said, Nick Frost! So then I came up and I just took the mic out. I said, hey, how you doing? And someone said something so awful to me that I just clicked the mic on and just wandered off. I just got my coat and just walked off. And they laughed at me all the way out. Aww. And that was that.
And no one gave you a big hug at the end?
No, not at all.
So, except Simon, when he heard, I'm sure.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. But so I did 12 and that was it. I kind of, it frightened me and I didn't, it made me feel physically sick. I suffer really badly with nerves, even now, So it was a terrible chore. So you chalked it up to experience, and then Mike from Spaced arrived on the scene. Yeah, because I'd always done characters to make Simon laugh in the pub and stuff like that. And then Simon and Jessica got Spaced commissioned, and he said, I'm going to write it in. And I thought, oh, yeah, right, whatever. And then I was kind of at a rehearsal, at a read-through with all the other actors, and at first I couldn't say a line without blushing. Oh. And even on Spaced, if you watch Spaced, you can see me blushing when I'm acting because it felt really weird and I hated it. Because that was your first role, of course. And first time I ever acted. Yeah. So no wonder. I mean, that was terrifying. And was he an amalgamation of 2 people that you knew? He was. I knew this guy, and I have kind of reconnected with him now through Facebook, called John McMahon, and he was a TA soldier and a part-time security guard. And then there was another guy I knew called Flea. I forget Flea's real name now, but he was a bit of a monster, but the flip side to him was he was a really lovely bloke, and you had to kind of forget the fact that he was a bit of a weapons nut because he was so nice. So I kind of put the two of them together. And that was Mike.
Was there a very funny story about a gun and you took it home to practice?
I did. The second series of Spaced, I had to strip an MP5 submachine gun blindfold. So Props gave me one. It was, it felt real. It was real, but it just couldn't fire anything. So I got out of my car and went into my house, and it was midday, really hot. Opened my back door, put on my little hot pants, and was just walking around the house on my own, like
doing
Bruce
your hair,
Willis.
GHD.
I had a skinhead.
Oh, okay.
I had a skinhead and a massive
Of course,
moustache.
for the character, yes, sorry.
So I put a blindfold on, and I kind of did it 3 or 4 times, and then the last time I did it, I took my blindfold off, and I sensed movement here in my garden. So as I turned, there were 2 armed police officers pointing Glocks at me, and then 6 outside. And as soon as they saw that I'd seen them, they flowed in like blue water, and
what did
they
they
hammered
do?
me. Well, I knew that they were gonna, if I made any movement, that they were gonna shoot me. So I just lifted my hands up and just sat back in the couch and waited for them then to hog tie me and stuff.
And did it take long for you to explain?
About 45 minutes. They wouldn't let me talk at first because I think they wanted to, make sure the house was secure and there wasn't any other men who looked like giant homosexuals with MP5s. And then they let me speak, and my voice had gone up several, and all I could say was, I'm an actor, I'm an actor.
I must be a sadist. I was hoping that story was true.
It was
just
true.
so
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
But the guy, they'd blocked the road off outside my house for 40 minutes, and they'd had spotter teams checking to see who was in the house. And he said to me, if you'd had that gun in your hand, we'd made our minds up previously that we were going to kill you.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez, I'm sure that is, yeah. Well, did Simon, on a completely non-gun related story, did Simon also introduce you to Woody Allen films?
He did. I was a very different person when I met Simon 15 years ago. I'd been a bit of a drifter and a troubled fella. And I travelled quite a lot on my own and stuff like that. And then I met Simon, and he took this rough lump of clay, and he kind of showed me some good things. And I think the first moment I met Simon, even though we had come from completely different places, I knew that I had an ally in him. And the first sound that he ever made, which made me fall in love with him, was the noise of a robot in Star Wars. And I'll do it for you now. And it's the one that goes up to Chewie, and Chewie goes, and it goes off. So he did that to me, and my ears pricked up, and I realised that, I thought, I know that sound. I know what that sound is.
A kindred spirits, and it comes across on screen. And there's rumours of the third part of the Cornetto trilogy, the final.
Blood and Ice Cream.
Yeah. Well,
that's what we're calling the
oh
trilogy.
yeah, really?
Yeah.
Like it.
Thank you.
Hear it here first, maybe?
No, it's out there.
Oh, is it?
Sorry.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, is it? Are we confirming the name? The World's End?
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you get that off IMDb or Wikipedia?
One of those.
If it's on there, then I can probably say it. But
okay.
I mean,
yes,
yes, fine. So it's in.
That's all you can tell us, though, is it?
That's all I
okay.
will tell you.
But finally, because I know we're running out of time, Paul.
Paul is Simon and I's next film.
Yes.
So we start shooting that on June the 8th, and it's the story of 2 comic book geeks who kind of find an alien in a crashed vehicle and decide to help him. So we're very excited to be kind of working together again. Excellent. And hopefully we keep it fresh. I think we're going to mix it up a little bit so people don't think...
Aliens, Comic-Con, introducing the European audience to that whole phenomenon, I think is going to be interesting.
Have you been to Comic-Con?
No, I've read
It's
a lot.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. It's like all the silent geeks who live in their own little towns get together this one time every year, and suddenly they all have a voice and they all feel like they've come home. So it's great to watch.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nick Frost, for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.